Hey, Success Squad, welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy you're here. If you're new here, hit the like, subscribe button, hit that bell so you know whenever I post a video. On vacation, little spring vacation weekend at the same cottages we were at, I think the year before last, but towards the end of the year. But I just wanted to get on here real quick and talk about some of the latest Sussex things because it's been a little bit of a while. Also, probably you guys are guessing, why doesn't Nadja do live streams anymore? I just don't have the time. But I'm hoping that that might change eventually in the future. I'm really, really hoping. Anyway, let's get into it. So I recently saw that Prince Harry did an interview with BBC, and it was like that interview almost brought me to tears. Like, I had wanted to make a video concerning the Sintobale lawsuit, right? The Africa Parks lawsuit and the Sintobale lawsuit, which are on their head touchy subjects. But I think the biggest thing that I've always just tried to remember is, like, you can try to advocate for the people around you to do what's right. And you can do what's right. But at the end of the day, you can't control other people's actions. And that's just what I saw through Prince Harry and Prince Say-So. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right, of Sintobale. That's how I felt about the unfortunate incident that happened with one of the charities that Prince Harry was a board member of, a patron of, Africa Parks. Like, you know, he had nothing to do with the bad conduct that the people engaged in there. But you know where his heart is. He's a philanthropist. He's dedicated so much of his life to service. So I never ever saw those as like a slight to his character, because he did the right thing in walking away and just saying, you know, I'm still going to continue all of my commitment to Africa, my commitment to humanities, my commitment that I made, you know, to the memory of his mom, you know, through forming these charities. And that to me speaks louder than this crazy lawsuit, you know, which, you know, I'm going to get into the BBC interview in a minute, but this is the stuff that was like leading up to that. And I don't even think there was a moment where he mentioned the Sintobale or Africa Parks lawsuits. Aside from, I think maybe at one point he mentioned that he would have to go before the British Charities Commission. I think that's what the name of the agency is. But other than that, he was very, this interview was about him again pleading with, you know, the firm to provide him with security, to provide him and his family with security. So yeah, I think that pretty much speaks for where he stands on the Sintobale thing. To me, this Sean the lady who's suing, you know, for you know, to claw on to whatever power that she's amassed with Sintobale. To me, it had the same vibes as Samantha Markle. I might be biased to that, obviously, since I do support Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And I might be biased to that because I have seen people discuss that online. But looking through all, like, the media outlets and the resources that I researched to come to that conclusion were People, Town and Country Mag, Fox News even. So, I mean, these are like, I mean, Fox News. But, you know, even with their biases, even they kind of just broke it down as this lady wanted to hold on to power. Prince Harry, Prince Say-So, they walked away, despite this being a charity they both found in, you know, memory of their moms. But they're still going to do the work, but they're going to leave the scandal behind. So to me, the reason that it kind of feels like, and Celeb Bitchy, I also got a lot of stuff from Celeb Bitchy. Even Celeb Bitchy was like, you know, the lady who writes for it, she was, I think it's Audrey or something. She was like, you know, do I think that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle are perfect? Have they done everything right? No, because obviously no human is. But the decision they made to leave the UK for their safety, yes. The decision to write the book, yes. The decision to do the Netflix series, yes, because they had to tell their side of the story. And ever since they did that, the UK has been coming after them. I mean, I mean, it's completely weird. I feel like it's not exactly the same, but it's kind of how the media and the US turned on Britney Spears. You know, again, and I talk about Britney Spears on this channel quite a lot. Completely different circumstances, I know. But Britney Spears is someone who was at once, you know, America's sweetheart. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were once, you know, the new kids on the block, you know, the fresh faces of the monarchy. And then when Britney Spears sort of said, I have my own autonomy, I want to be my own person. When Prince Harry and Meghan Markle said, I want to have my own autonomy, I want to be my own person, that's when, you know, that tabloid monster machine and haters just sort of globbed on. And that sways government stuff when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. They're not Britney Spears. They're not like pop stars. They're friggin' royalty from a monarchy. So there's like governmental and bureaucratic stuff wrapped up in that. So the fact that the UK won't provide them security when there is viable threats everywhere they go. There are these trolls everywhere that they go. You know, everything that they do, there are people seething with hate that come out. Beyond just the average random troll type people who could get a little nutty and, I don't know, bring a weapon to an event or something, they also have, you know, governmental, like international governments that basically have been put on, not so many words, but on their hit list, on their, you know, SHIT list, on the list that just says, you know, don't mess with these people. And that's unfair. And beyond that, you know, there's also like the danger of anybody, literally anybody who could just want to pull a Princess Diana, who could want to pull, you know, I don't know. There's danger, clearly, you know, like they should have the support of the top protection in the UK. And I mean, not to mention that most of the vitriol, most of the trolls, most of the people that pose danger to Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and their children are in the UK. When you see people who literally seethe with hate for them, usually they are in the UK. I mean, they've garnered a lot of support among the colonies. They've garnered a lot of support in the US. They've garnered a lot of support in Africa. They've garnered a lot of support in the EU. The only place where there are people who hate them because they look at them as traitors is in the UK. So logically, that is the one place where they need security. By the way, heads up, probably a couple of years ago at this point, we made a petition for Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, Lilibet, and Archie and Gloria to have the coverage of the firm's security when they're in the UK. We did that quite a while ago. Again, I know, like, maybe our little selves, you know, our little Sussex Squad selves, maybe we can't do too much, but we can sign this petition, you know, so I'm going to link it back again. Sometimes petitions goes for years and years and years, and, you know, there's never any change, but it still does not hurt to try. So to the BBC interview, guys, like, to me, this interview was so emotionally charged, you know, and I feel like he was blinking a lot, like he was blinking a whole lot. So I feel like there was a couple of times where he was probably trying to fight back tears because it's really sensitive, this topic. You know, look at the way that his mom passed. I feel generally King Charles is behaving like a child. Like, these people act like they cannot use their common sense. You say that you want Prince Harry and his wife and his children to come back to the UK and reconcile with the monarchy and be a part of the family again. But on the same hand, you say you're not going to provide security when there are thousands upon thousands of security threats out there who would love to see these people unalived. It makes no logical sense from a bureaucratic standpoint. It makes no sense from a compassionate sense from a family. And we've been saying this for years. And you know what? I'm not saying that Prince Harry doesn't have the autonomy or the independence to come to like a choice on his own of whether or not he should go to the UK without security for his whole family. But I want to note that he succinctly said, you know, and I feel like he's kind of hinted on it, but this time it was hard hitting. He was like, I cannot risk bringing my wife, my children, and myself, my whole family, to the UK until there is that RMB, or the Risk Management Board, which they've been denying him since 2020. So I think honestly, what we've been saying for the longest, y'all, that it is a very blatant and obvious conspiracy to punish them, you know, to say, oh, you were bad, you behaved badly, and so now you'll have to continue to kiss the ring to get back in our favor. So we're going to play these mind games with you. We're going to say, like an abuser, we're going to say, you can come back and get in our good graces, but you can't come with our security. The best security that you could have here. You're going to have to pay for your own security, and private security, as Prince Harry said in the interview, can only go so far. They need governmental security. They need people who are in the know. They need some true risk management, people who can de-escalate threats, people who can, for you know, the way that the FBI is there when Trump has one of his 18 million assassination attempts because the man is a tyrant and a fascist and crazy. You know, when one of his cuckoos, people who used to be MAGA, and then they're like, you know what, bump this. And they just get their AK and they show up to a Trump rally or a Trump event, and the FBI is there, you know, because they can scale different buildings. They've got a whole task force that can handle these type of things the way that Prince William has, and the way that Princess Kate has, and the way that King Charles has, and the way that Prince Philip has, the way that Prince Andrew has. I mean, I could go on and on. The way that the king has, the way that Camilla has, that's what they're going to need, if not more, because there is such this threat. And you know what? Beyond that, even just a statement, you know, a statement that says, you know, we apologize for ever offending the Sussexes. We support them fully. We reject all instances of threats of violence towards them that are motivated by racism or xenophobia or thoughts of ill or thoughts that they were traitorous, like something like that, you know, like do an interview yourself. Stop speaking through your proxies, through all of these different, you know, UK tabloids, these Royal Daily Mail, Today News, Royal Family. Blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, like I thought him saying, I cannot bring my family to the UK until they give us this. And every other, you know, royal has had a RMB, and, you know, like, I think the hostess asked him, well, hostess sounds like a restaurant. The host, the anchor, whatever you want to say, asked him, how do you feel about your relationship with the UK since? And again, blinking a lot, like looking like he was fighting back tears. He expressed how much he loved his country, but how he felt, I don't want to put words in his mouth. He didn't say betrayed, but you can feel the pain. Like, I don't know. I mean, they have treated him and his wife, they've treated Meghan, they've treated the children horribly. So, and I, from what I said earlier, where I don't feel like he doesn't have the autonomy to like make a decision, you know, on his own, because it seems like he's listening to us, because we've been saying for years, don't go to the UK, right? Success Squad has been saying for years, like, just protect yourself, protect your energy, don't go to the UK. But just hearing how succinctly he said that, I feel like this is the first time where he has ever been so firm in saying, we're not going to the UK until the monarchy does its part and gives us our RMB. You know, I feel like he's said that in the past, but he's tiptoed around it almost. You know, it's like he's almost really tried to play to their favor and tuck his tail in between his legs and sort of just tried to come from a very I don't know, a kind and sort of diplomatic, Sweden sort of place. But this time, I think he's heard what we've said. He's heard that we've said, you know, you can't take Archie and Lily there. You can't take Meghan. I mean, that's look at the people who just flood your events. Usually shut down by a bunch of people like us who are like, get out of here, you know, but still, look at those odd people who show up to their events just to be trolls. You know, look at the dozens of accounts and podcasts and Reddit threads and, you know, Twitter accounts that are devoted literally just to trashing them. I mean, there is so much hate that is fueled and flamed by certain members of the firm and by this tabloid monster machine. And clearly they won't be safe from that in the UK. They'll be safe from that in the US because I think people can understand them a bit more, and they got a bunch of warriors behind them, behind their side. To another one that celebrity said that they were totally justified in doing was the Oprah interview. I mean, I feel like they did that early on, and it was so smart of them because it's like, we put it out there to begin with. And you notice since then, you know, they really make a concerted effort for Prince Harry to stand on his own 2 feet and for Meghan Markle to stand on her own 2 feet, because they learned that anything that they do together, people are just going to attack them and say that she's a narcissist succubus and she's manipulating him, which is all untrue, obviously. But I love that. I love that they continue all their works, all their charities. I love that they continue doing what they love. Prince Harry is continuing to support veterans. He's continuing to support Africa. He's continuing to do his sports that he loves. You know, he's still an athlete at heart. Meghan Markle is still doing her lifestyle thing. I think she's probably still interested, at the very least, in production. You know, like maybe she won't be able to do acting, but from looking at With Love, Meghan, I think that we can definitely see that film and television is still in the cards for her. And she's beasting it as a mom. So they're both beasting it as parents. I love that they are continuing to do what they love despite all these trolls. And we're going to keep supporting them, guys, because Prince William, Kate, I mean, Catherine of Wales, Prince William and Kate, Camilla and Charles, they have tons of people who support them and back them. But it's not the same for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. So for us, probably smaller, but maybe bigger, who knows? But for us who do support them, at least internationally, it's like the UK has turned their back on them. They turned their back on them a long time ago. But for us who do, we got to support them. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know what you thought about that bombshell interview. That was crazy. I want to know what you think. I would love to know what you think. And if you're new here, hit that like, subscribe button, hit that bell whenever I post video. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.